Sandwich shop, a neighborhood cafe. There are some of the restaurants inspectors say are not keeping clean kitchens.
Yeah, here's Jason Berry with this week's all-new Dirty Dining report.
Veggies with fuzzy growth on them, food kept past its discard date. That's just a taste of the health code violations we uncovered at Valley Restaurants this week. Filiberto's Mexican food at Southern and Dobson and Mesa. 3 major health code violations. An employee spotted on the phone, then cooking without washing his hands. Dishes not sanitized properly. Salsa not kept at the proper temperature. Walk and roll on Miller Road off Camelback Road in Scottsdale. 3 violations. Mushrooms and peppers with fuzzy organic growth. Eggs stored above veggies and sauces. Raw pork and beef not kept cold enough. Lilo on Camelback Road off 4th Avenue in Phoenix. 3 violations. No soap at a hand wash sink. Oysters not date marked. A package of salmon kept past its discard date. The Stone Korean Tofu House on Main Street near Dobson and Mesa. 3 violations. Kimchi kept past its discard date. An employee not washing his hands properly. Cooked rice held in a warmer that was unplugged. And the place with the most health code violations? UTNG Hot Pot on Broadway Road off Dobson and Mesa. 4 major violations. UTNG Hot Pot had mold growth on chicken. A dishwasher not cleaning properly. Raw pork and shrimp puffs not kept cold enough. And a large amount of organic matter on a hood above the grill. The place is now on notice to clean up or could face legal action. Jason Berry for Arizona's Family.